Yes.
Our two new faces. The O and
The O, that would be an Oregon Ducks. I think he's a fantastically brave man. To have that, to have, you know, I look forward to talking to him. You know.
Hey Jeff, welcome.
Hey, Gwen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to be on the podcast.
It's a
Maybe he does.
starter.
And explain the Oregon Ducks Act, because seriously, if we were a club that had fines, I would think that should be a fine.
That's right. With as Kathy has got hers.
That's fine.
There you go.
Lily's Woody.
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah, looks
You
like
guys-
a dog.
Oh. You better be careful because Cliff's gonna pop in any second, and the cougar among our group
there we
is
go.
gonna be.
Yeah.
Did I hear somebody say this club is not fine?
No, we're fine. We just don't do fines.
That's what I thought. I thought this was a very fine club.
It's a very fine club.
No, we're not fine, James. We're not fine at all. We're a little bit out there, but we don't charge fines.
But we're fine.
As of right now. As of right now, we're fine.
Yeah.
Have a thought. I am happy that I did not have to be a painter in my career. I spent a painting. So we had an arbor and an arbor built at the top of the stairs going down the outside of our house on the left side, and a fence at the back of the driveway area. So I spent the day painting. You and me both, brother.
What?
I've been painting upstairs.
And John, are you? Oh,
I
paint.
was too.
Oh my God.
I was too. Yeah.
Well, isn't this the time we've all decided we're going to take on a project we probably should do? So I decided I would shampoo rugs. That really sucks. It's the job I will never in my life again do. I will pay lots of money for somebody else to do it. So we're all learning through this process. And I've learned I will never, ever do shampoo rugs again.
I have to say, if there is a COVID silver lining to all this, is like all of a sudden I really respect groceries workers. All of a sudden the truck drivers that are out there, the shampooers of rugs, the plumbers, you know, all of a sudden those guys and those women and men that kind of fly under the radar. It's like every time I do go out with my mask on and everything, I'm just like, thank you. Thank you for being there. Thank you for still being around. I appreciate you, you know. It's amazing.
Brian at Payless was really short today.
Mm-hmm.
So, for what that's worth.
And thank goodness for the UP.
Yeah, the UPS and the FedEx drivers and the United States postal workers, for that matter. You know, I mean,
Keep the trucks rolling.
keep them rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Gwen,
Yes, ma'am.
hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, 'cause James Monroe.
Barely. I can barely hear you, Jane.
Okay, but you can now, okay.
Well,
That something like that is
so far
actually
back.
your mic. That's on your end, not necessarily on my end.
Yeah, you're sitting so far back.
Yeah.
Smile, Rick. You look so serious.
Well, yeah, there we go. Now we'll unmute Rick so we can hear him too.
Hey Rick, everybody toast Rick. Hey Rick.
I'll toast to that.
There it is.
Hey, guys, you didn't hear me. I built a greenhouse.
Did you really? Wow.
No. How many fingernails do you have left, Jane?
You know me and my fingernails? Look at them.
Yeah.
There's none.
I know.
I need Tracy.
Yeah.
To fill your greenhouse?
No.
To fill the greenhouse, exactly.
That's stuff in it already.
It's
The
okay.
other Tracy.
Yeah, gloves are in right now. It's okay.
Gloves and hats I saw so many people in these protesty things that are going on, and there was one sign that actually said, you know, the world should open up because I need to get my hair done. And I said, for God's sake, have you not heard of a baseball cap? Gordy's got a beautiful baseball cap on right now that will cover up those roots until we all can be safe, for God's sake.
Yeah, because Gordy really needs to worry about covering up his roots.
He does.
Yeah.
They're getting a little out of hand. What I'm loving is all the men growing beards. I mean, this is legit, gentlemen. You guys can all know that I am not a real blonde. What's your guys' excuses for all growing beards? Well, Rick, you're good. Rick, I already know you already have one.
Charles has his badge on. He's the only one of us who has a badge.
Oh, no.
And his shirt and his pin.
You look wonderful in your shirt and badge.
Oh,
Badges?
you need
We don't
to,
need
you
no
need,
stick-
you can badge it.
Man.
You should put him in 3 times, Jane, because he's got three representations on there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the rotary tiara was not in the bag.
It's coming. It's in the mail.
Don't joke. There's more than one of us that would wear that, right, Jane?
I would.
Oh, nice little emblem.
Right here.
Doug would. Doug. Okay.
I would.
Rotary tiara. Got it. Make a note of it.
If you buy me a rotary tiara with diamonds, I will wear the shit out of that.
There you go. Thank you. It's probably going to be cubic zirconia, but God bless you for thinking diamonds. I appreciate that.
Probably
Okay.
diamonds.
We got one viewer up there participating that's had enough, just got up and left.
Oh,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that would be our district representative. So what does that say about us?
Hey, Ray.
Hey, that's Ray. Is Ray coming in audio too? Because
It's
last
Ray.
time he double dipped on us. So,
He did. He counted
Oh,
twice.
man, they enlarged that. Look at that. Wow.
okay.
And evidently he doesn't want to show us his beard.
There's Cliff.
Hey, Cliff.
Okay, Mr. Oregon. Now it's on. Because now you've got Cliff. Now you've got Cliff in there that like is the Washingtons. Now we have a duck and a husky and a cougar. God help us.
That sounds like a really bad joke.
Did they walk into a bar?
A duck, a
Walk
duck,
into
a
a bar.
husky, or walk into a bar.
Cougars are always walking into bars.
It's because they're set pretty low, those bars.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's regrouping. He's regrouping. Okay.
Oh.
I
And
got-
Trojans are trying to take care of all you animals.
That's right. Well, yeah. And that gets me started because my family were all Huskies. I was actually a Bruin. I actually went to UCLA. Ed.
We
We won't
try not-
hold that against you.
Thank you.
There's Larry.
So I love how this is not anything about Rotary and everything about what college you went to. And by the way, Kathy, totally awesome graduation picture. You looked fabulous, darling.
Oh,
I loved it.
I loved it. The hair that I feel you could have kind of snapped off if you needed to. The snap-on, snap-off hair was, you were beautiful.
Was that your high school graduate?
high school graduation. Yeah.
You looked great.
Thanks.
She still does.
Amen.
Oh.
I graduated in 1984, like, oh my God, like the time of the Valley Girls. So I'll have to dig mine up because I was totally awesome.
84.
You were tubular.
I was totally tubular in 1984. Well, we're just about ready to rock and roll. It's kind of a small batch of us today, unless they all start popping on,
Yeah, they got 5 minutes now.
which could be because everybody's out in the weather.
Yeah, it's nice weather out there. Beautiful weather.
Yeah.
So are some of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous weather.
Hey, Ray, are you officially talking to us through your computer? Have you figured this out?
No, well, I don't have sound on my computer and I don't know why, but I got a telephone.
We hear you fine.
Hey,
Yeah, we hear you fine.
we hear
Oh, yeah.
you. Okay.
Your computer works.
Tracy.
Yay. Hey, Tracy.
Tracy.
This is Larry. I was a little late getting in. I've got a crew out doing a bunch of pruning. and chainsaw
Okay.
Doing, so
You're not late.
I had to sneak back in.
You look like you're about to go on safari, Larry.
Well, I need a haircut.
Don't we all?
Just talking about that.
I
I
don't.
wish
No,
I could.
I'm good.
Yeah.
We're all gonna look like Ken Bloom before this thing is over.
Oh,
I wish I was that sexy.
There you go.
I was promoting the Jim Rogers haircut, but I couldn't quite sell it. I think that's the best one of all.
So Gwen, I saw a Saab wagon on the Langley Road this morning. Pulled over to the side. Was that you?
No. No. We're
Oh,
I was
then I
all
should have stopped to help him.
no. Oh, very funny. I did have, well, if it wasn't today, however, as far as service above self, I was driving up 520 a couple days ago out by the Ken's Corner area, and there was a 3-year-old walking down Highway 525.
A 3-year-old deer.
No, a 3-year-old child. Just
Wow.
strolling down, and I had taken the dogs for a walk, so I immediately pulled over and got out there and said, hi. And she said, hi, and that her name was Madeline. And I said, well, hi, Madeline. Do you realize that you are by the freeway? And she said, yes, I wanted to go on a ferry ride. So it took us a few minutes to find out where Madeline lived. And we and the dogs walked her home, where her dad was pressure washing the house and had no idea Madeline was gone. But yeah, Madeline was
And she got in the car with you.
No, she didn't. We walked. No, because I had the dogs in the car, which meaning the Saab was on the side of the road, but with the dogs in it. But we took her home, and her dad kind of looked at me like, what are you doing with my kid? And I kind of smiled at him and said, your kid is on the highway.
What did he say? Oh my gosh.
You know, he didn't say anything. He didn't even apologize. I mean, it was more of a, well, where was she? And I said, well, she was walking to the ferry on 525, and I pulled over with my dogs, and we picked her up and we took her home. And she was like about 4 years old.
What are you talking about?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, I was talking about that there was a little girl walking down 525, Marion. She was about 3-4 years old, and she had gotten away from her parents and was on their way to the ferry because she wanted to take a ride. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, she's here.
Oh my goodness.
I love your nose, Gordy.
I like your ankles.
Claire?
There's the.
Wait, go down a little bit, girl. There it is.
Oh.
Ow. Wiggle my toes.
Well, hi, Marion and George.
Hi, everybody.
Look at you guys sitting outside.
I know. We got people outside. We got Marion in her lounger. How you doing, Miss Marion? How are you today?
Well, I'm much better. I really wish I were outside. I got involved with a.
She was watching Gentlemen Wear Prefer Blondes.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
The classic.
Love it.
Do with 15 minutes of lawns, though. He turned it off.
We should be able to see their roots too, damn it.
Hey,
Celia,
James.
how
are you doing?
Hanging in there.
Good.
I'm fine. Thanks.
Well, there you go.
I'm fine.
Siri's fine.
Celia, not you, sorry. Gosh, that was weird.
So, Celia, have you figured out how to shower with one leg out of the tub and all that yet? No, not yet. Sponge baths until the 27th. Oh. Yeah, I go back
Cheers, Mom.
on Monday, the 27th, to get a hard cast. So Sweet.
I'm expecting Rotary as the
Oh.
government.
That's all right.
Hey, James, is your club doing Zoom meetings or what's your club doing?
Who are you talking to?
James, sorry. There we go. Yes, James. You're muted. Hold on. There we go. James, am I muting you and you're unmuting you?
No, he's still muted.
Okay, he's not unmuting. James, you have your own power, my love.
Hey. Maybe they don't talk.
There he goes.
There he goes.
There we go.
Sorry, James.
You know what? You're muted again.
There you go. You're unmuted.
Did somebody call on me?
I'm not touching it.
Yeah, we're interested in what your club's doing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, we're having the meeting.
We are meeting every week now on Friday morning as usual. In fact, I encourage all of you to visit not only my club, but clubs around the country, really. I've had an opportunity to visit a lot of the clubs in our district, but also across the country, Texas, Minnesota. Just last week, I was with the Rotary Club of New York. And I can talk about that later. So we're just doing our thing, having speakers. We had the mayor a couple weeks ago, and I know you have Jeff here from Everett Port Gardner, so good to see you, Jeff. Yeah.
You know, James, that's kind of an interesting idea. Bruce, are you able to give us links to the other two clubs on the island at least?
I'm sorry, Rick, say again.
Sorry, what? I was asking Bruce as our AG if he could at least give us links. Clearly you do have some, and like to the other two on the island at least, it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, there's actually a link right on the district's homepage, right at the top, of clubs in the district that are having online meetings.
Oh, terrific. Thank you.
Yeah.
And James, are we on there? And if so, do I need to get that to you ASAP?
I will take a quick look.
Okay. If not, I'm happy to send that to you tonight. No, we all got quiet. Everybody must be drinking something.
Well, cheers, everyone.
Yes.
Way to perk it up.
Yeah, let's get this party started.
Happy half hour.
Happy half hour. All right, just a quick bit of business, John and Jane. Next week, I'm going to have you sign in, not as Rotary Club of Woodby Westside, because we are technically recording this meeting 3 times. And we only have so much cloud space. So Jane, I will make a meeting with you to teach you that. And John, I'll make a meeting with you and we'll fix that. But in the meantime, that's all technical side. You can start, John.
Okay, good. We all set?
Okay.
Hey, Ron, welcome. Okay, let's, we are gonna hold on here. Bear with me here.
Education, we build schools and furniture. Water security, where we build water catchment systems and filtration, and then economic development, which is living wage employment, and that's at the Aller Center, and I'll get into that in a little bit, and then cottage industry programs. So the one that we're talking about right now is the opportunity is open fire cooking. We see a lot of respiratory issues because of open fire in the homes, low birth weight, childborne injuries, and it's expensive, both in time and money, especially for families that make about $2 a day. And firewood is scarce in that region. This is a typical, what they call a 3-stone fire. This is the typical generations have cooked this way inside their homes. Pretty good picture here of what the inside looks like with the fire going. There's a typical pot of beans being cooked at the moment. So the solution that we came up with about 10 years ago was to build our own stove for the communities in and around Boreas. So they're manufactured by us in our facility in Boreas. And that's kind of where the living wage employment comes in, because we hire, we have 7 full-time craftsmen that are welders and carpenters. And then we have 7 more that are part-time that work when teams are down to install stoves and work building schools. Uses 50% less wood as compared to open fire, removes harmful pollutants from the home, and it's a raised surface and it's safer for children. So there's the Aller Center, built in 2010 on a capital campaign project. We build the stoves, school desk whiteboards, we build cots, chairs, teacher's desk. We even build the equipment for the hospital in Boreas, which is greatly underfunded, but we're able to take care of their bedding needs and for both adults and then cribs that we've built in the Aller Center. In the center is the Aller stove. Looks a little bit better than the open fire that's in previous pictures. Again, it's smoke is piped to the outside of the home, clean surface to cook on, and it's up off the floor away from the kids. So the basics, how this works, the village requests assistance from us. The families support the project through labor and a small monetary contribution for their stove, because we found if the village and the families have a buy-in for the stove, it becomes habit and it gets used. We invite teams from the United States and Canada to fund the project, and then invite them also to come down and install alongside the families in the village. And then what's unique to Hands for Peacemaking is that we have a follow-up program for 6 months after the install that we come and check every stove, make sure that they're using it. If there's anything that needs to be repaired, we take care of it. Some pictures of the teams and the stove installs. Right now we have 3,500 requests for stoves in the network. And obviously the teams that were scheduled to go down this year have postponed until 2021. So the solution is that we've started a virtual project trip. We are allowed a little bit of movement in Northwest Guatemala. COVID is so far, and we keep crossing our fingers, is far to the south of us. In the city of Huehuetenango, there's 1 case. Most of them are in and around Guatemala City. So the village that we picked is Vuelta Grande, which is called the Big Turn. And what we're going to do is it'll be an actual virtual. So today we started, the team was in Aller Center building stoves, and we started from raw material, and they're going to video the entire process from raw material all the way to completion. Then we'll take you through the meeting with the village leadership to signing the contracts. And then we'll highlight the installation in each home, or in a few homes, not every one of them, it's 45 stoves. And then walk you through the process of the aftercare of the stove. So, and again, all this from the comfort of your own home. We'll just post videos and have the staff highlight the whole thing throughout. So a little bit about the village. It's only 15 minutes from Boreas, Boreas is 13-hour drive from Guatemala City on well-maintained roads. That's the joke. It takes a little while to get there. There are 45 families, 42 homes, and 190 people call this their home. They grow corn and beans and vegetables like most of the communities do there, and a little bit of livestock. The picture there is typically how they go and get wood, machete, and you get as much as you can carry and haul it back to the house. From this village, though, most of the wood, because this is pretty well farmed out, and you see some trees, but most of this is corn along this mountainside. They're about a 1 to 2 hour walk to get that much wood to bring it back. And that will last them probably about 4 or 5 days before they have to go back out. A little bit of medical coverage. There's a midwife in in the village, and then one person is not really a professional but takes care of the rest of the village needs. Upper and lower respiratory issues, and then stomach ailments that are the medical needs in the community. The village has agreed to the process. They understand it. And so what we're doing is we're trying to fund the 45 stoves and set our team to work down in Guatemala. So that was pretty quick. I'll exit.
Very good. Very good. So it's been, how long have you been doing this? 10
So
years
in this side, I've been almost 2 years now for Hands for Peacemaking. So my first trip with Hands for Peacemaking was a school build through the Burlington Club. Gosh, 11 years ago. And the one thing that I like to share is that I spent 24 years in retail, managing stores and operating, and that trip was it served two purposes. One, it was the day I became a Rotarian, and two, it was the day that I decided that I needed to do something else in the world, and that was kind of the linchpin for the whole thing, was that trip. And so that was kind of what put me on the course to get into the nonprofit world and see what we could do outside of our, take care of our community through Rotary, which we still do every day, but what else is out there that we can accomplish and make life a little bit better for somebody else. So, excuse me.
Questions? Yes, Janice.
Jeff, have you hooked up with global partnerships at all and looked at any on the ground funding organizations that they have in South America and some of these countries?
In some cases we have. We partner pretty well with the small organizations in Guatemala. What we haven't done well, and it's kind of because we're in the middle of nowhere, or at least on the edge of it, is to be able to partner with, I'm just trying to think of, the SHARE program is one of them. Mm-hmm. They were there and now are gone. We do a little bit with Medical Teams International. We have a relationship with some of their staff, but again, it's one of those where we're trying to serve is, it's 13 hours, and a lot of people go, whoa, wait a minute, I don't want to be in a truck that far. But it's the partnerships are strong with the smaller nonprofits that are there, or the NGOs, being able to come alongside somebody like Medical Teams International that understands that stoves is a way to prevent or help with a lot of these respiratory issues. It's just a big jump for them to get that far out into the country. So, but I'm working on it every day, inviting people to breathe.
Jeff,
yeah.
Jeff, I have a question. You mentioned that the people working in the factory are making a living wage. What is a living wage down there?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we've been trying to, for them, your average for a living wage in the city of Barrios is about $12 to $14 an hour. And that's high end. For us, we figured ours is based on about $20 to $25 a day. And it's just their time in the Aller Center. So they're able to be compensated pretty well for being trade people. So.
Thank you. Okay.
Other questions?
Wow, you've made us speechless. I should take a picture. Oh, thank you, Jeff.
Good.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. It's been, I know we had it set and it got postponed and here we are. So I appreciate your patience and look forward to getting back over and having breakfast with you over there.
And I look forward to winning my car next year.
All right, we'll do that.
We'll work on that. Good. Is there anything else in the for the good of the club?
Actually, I do.
I hope we do happy thoughts.
Can I do one director thing, and then I'm all in with George's idea. From the public image standpoint, there is a bit of public imaging that I think our Rotary Club can do, and I'm pretty excited about it and got the okay from John this week. As you guys well know, I walk my corgis every day, and lately I've been going by that high school and South Whitby High School, and I'm sure you guys are all aware that there's an entire graduating class that will be graduating, but they're not going to get the cap and gown. They're not going to get the usual stuff, and it kind of broke my heart in a way as I was walking by their school the other day. So I have shanghaied Celia to do another great banner for us, and I've gotten permission from the school that we're going to be putting up a congratulations banner on that tennis fencing of that high school, to basically tell each and every one of those very hard-working, deserving young people that are the future of Whidbey Island, congratulations, and that we're thinking of them. And, you know, maybe we can make it up to them with double graduation next year. But until then, that'll go up in the next few days. Next, you know, Celia's working on the design, and we will take a picture of it, and I will get it up to let everybody know about that ASAP.
And Gwen,
we can see it. Yes.
That's from both clubs, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
It is now, because
Because
John just said so. So is that the morning club and
both South Whidbey clubs? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that's the right thing.
John,
yes.
I have something about the teachers. You know, we always do a teacher appreciation every year, and we're actually going to still do that this year.
Okay.
So what we'll probably do is, you know, one of our meetings, we usually bring them all in and do an award thing. And I'm not sure how all that'll work, but I'll let you guys know the date, and it'll probably be a Zoom thing. So, yeah, Terry Rose got the okay from school district, and let's go ahead and do that, and we'll put it together, and I'll let you know.
Good.
Well, then, as a flash vote, then club, since I have you guys out here, and if we have, if Jim, if you can tell me we have the finances for this, I'm happy to make up 2 banners, one for the students and one for the teachers, and that would be up to a vote from the club, and of course from the president, if you'd like me to do it for both, and we could do a couple of great banners of appreciation.
Right, and it should be by all rights coming from both clubs, since we're dating anyways. I
have no problem about the club orientation. My request to the club is, do I have permission as public image to give you 2 banners, one celebrating the hard work of the teachers and one celebrating the graduating party?
I'm in
All
favor.
in favor?
Thumbs up.
Yay. Okay.
Here, I have a question.
Right. We have a banner, I think, that usually goes up for this across the road. But let me check on that, and I'll get back to you.
Please do. And then Tracy, did I hear?
Yeah, my question is, you know, we also, and I don't know if there's anything that we can talk to the school later, but all those seniors are not getting their senior prom this year.
No, they're not.
I know, it's a sad thing.
I mean, they don't have to wear the stupid hat.
Are they going to do a virtual prom or something though, I wonder?
I haven't heard, because I talked to Mary Eaton and they were doing prom, weren't doing prom, and then this got extended. But, you know, I think for the seniors, that's it's a pretty big deal.
Big deal.
It's the last
Throw a
dance,
party
so to
this
speak.
summer.
Yeah.
James has got a question.
Yeah, I've heard some planning groups around this kind of event are also looking at maybe later in the spring or maybe in the summer. I know that's problematic, especially because a lot of seniors are going off into the world. So that might be an option too.
Well, this can be a small step one. And, you know, Ray and Tracy and others, if you hear of another way that we can show everybody the appreciation that they so rightly deserve, we'll start with these 2 banners, and then the sky's the limit, and you guys all know how to get in touch with me. So please let me know ideas. That's it for me. Oh, Janice?
Oh, this is something after. This is something different.
Okay.
So on this topic, Bruce, were you saying?
I just had a question for Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff, have you looked at the stoves that the shelter box provides?
Yes. The best way to put this is that we've got to crawl before we can walk. The issue is in this area of the world is that we would love to be able to bring anything that's LP or gas or whatever, because we know it's cheaper and it's more efficient and it's healthier, both for the people using it and for the environment. Right now, we're just trying to take from 3-stone fire to something that's much more efficient and will help the family immediately. But we've looked at everybody's stove. We're even going to test. We're sending down a pelletizer and a hammer mill. We're going to test organic pellets. And we had a stove design down in Southern Oregon that we're going to try to build there. And we can use leftover waste from harvest as a means to start these stoves. So yeah, we've looked at every piece that we can. It's just in some villages it's okay to get LP and gas too. In others, you're another 2.5 hours from Maria's. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
James had a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, James, and then George.
Yeah, Jeff, as I recall, the new stoves are designed to be actually used outside the home in a covered area.
You can. There's different stoves out on the market. There's what they call a rocket stove, which burns probably 95 to 97% efficient. And it can be used inside or outside. The issue with the rocket stove is that most of those are powered. They have a fan unit in it that creates a much higher combustion.
I was specifically talking about the Aller stove.
The Aller stove you could use anywhere as long as it's covered, and as long as you had a way to get it out, the smoke away from it. And we've set them up. We've set them up in just a covered area. We've put them in kitchens that are separate from the house. So it's still something we want to send the smoke outside of the home. And in any case where we can do that, we want to.
Good.
So I
was
just going to mention, do all of you remember, or most of you remember, Andrew Baszler? He came and gave a talk to us, and it seems to me he was one of our ambassadors down there through Rotary to go, and I think it was the Aller stoves that he went to a village and helped to install. I think it was 24 stoves. So the more we can do to promote, this kind of help for those folks is great. But I just want to point out a couple of local heroes who helped out with that.
He spoke to us at Charms, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, I remember that.
Gordo. I want happy thoughts eventually.
Gordy, my love, let me unmute you, and then everybody can see what you're. Go. Take 2. Go.
Okay. Question on the high school banner.
Sir.
On the student banner, is it possible to include all the graduating seniors' names on the banner?
I don't know.
Not be easy to read them when you're driving by, but get every student their name on that banner, if it's at all.
Congratulations to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
let me make some phone calls tomorrow. I assume there is a graduating class.
It's just
And
a
so-
matter of getting the list of names.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, oh, popping back in. There she is. Yeah, it's just getting
Like
a.
everyone who doesn't need to see me
School
sitting
can
in bed. Sorry about that, guys, but I'm kind of limited in my positions I could be in. But, yeah, I mean, it's certainly, Gordy, it's possible to design the banner with everybody's names. That's not difficult to do. I just need to get the list from somewhere. So
Yeah.
someone has access. Maybe Ray Green. I don't know if you're in contact with the school.
Right, Ed Halloran is too. So I'll send an email. And Ray, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'll check on that. I'll get you the list. Just a quick note. We're still doing scholarships this year. We've got about 30 applications in so far. So we do the 4 scholarships every year. So we'll be doing that.
Good. Okay.
Good. Any other discussion or questions or otherwise? Janice?
I don't know if anybody saw this weekend the article on Eat Clean Whidbey, and the chef who's cooking over at Pickles, and he's doing this clean food thing, but most importantly, he's delivering it free. And for healthcare workers, first responders, police officers, grocery store employees, he's giving them a 50% discounted price. He, I think, is delivering these himself. He says delivery is free when possible. He's asking, it sounds like he could use help with delivery for the people that are needing it. So I didn't know if this was something that we could help out with, but it sure sounded like a great thing he's doing. He's making like 75 meals a week. He's basically a laid off chef who thought, I can do something about helping everybody.
Oh, good.
So he's basically he's paying for the food himself, and he's just, charging a minimal amount, it sounds like. And he's going to have a different menu every week. And right now, I guess he's doing 75. All Island Express Taxi is doing some of the transport, but I don't think they can do it all.
Janice, maybe do a little more research if you would, and if you find something that works, maybe just shoot it to Jane.
Okay.
Just take the liberty to pass
Yeah,
it out to
I'll call him
everyone.
tomorrow. I'll call him tomorrow and find out the story.
That'd be all right, Jane? At least we just get the word out. I know we're probably jumping some guns, but we're in different times. That would be great. And another, Charles, where are you? There you are. Yeah, we had some conversations, and why don't you bring up, if you would, right now, what your thought is? Again, we're kind of probably jumping some lines, but we're all among us here, and it's all for the right reasons. So why don't you share your idea that you shared this morning, if you would?
Yeah, I mean, I live here on Edgecliff Drive, and although I live in a tiny 500 square foot apartment, I'm surrounded by very, very big houses on a cliff. And there, inside those very big houses, there are some little old ladies and little old men who, A, don't consider themselves old, and B, don't consider themselves needy. And I was walking my new dog along the street and encountered a lady in one of these very large waterfront homes, and asked her how she was doing. She was in her yard. We were 6 feet apart. And she said she was fine, but her son couldn't make it over from the mainland, so she's been alone for a month, and she can't find her glasses. And the lack of her glasses means she can't read her prescription bottles. And she can't quite see whether the oven is on or off. Now, I'm sorry, but that very wealthy lady is in trouble. And I think that she's not the only one. And I'm wondering if this, like the way they say in China, in Asian languages, you know, opportunity and crisis are etymologically from the same root. I wonder if this is not an opportunity to dig a little deeper into our community and find out just how people are doing. And my idea emerged from the fact that I'm a good potter. I'm firing my kilns right now, but I could not sew my way out of a paper bag. I just can't make masks. And I heard a lot of people making masks, and I think it's great. But I wondered if there was something else we could do other than sort of watch Netflix and drink wine and during the day. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if a group of people like the Rotary were to agree to take on this project that I have in my brain, this idea of a person-to-person campaign of calling. And just calling people you know, the neighbor you're down the street, friends on the people on the island that you think might need a phone call. I'm talking everybody volunteering just for 5 calls or 3 calls or 2 calls or 6 calls, and getting them on the phone, having something in front of you that explains what Island Senior Resources does for people. You know, that we get prescriptions and drive them by, that we get groceries and drive them by, that we have social workers that will stop by, that we can drive people to their medication, their doctor's appointments, stuff like that, just a brief summation. And to ask people, you know, how are you doing? And if all 5 phone calls result in all 5 people saying, I am just fine, I don't need a thing. Well, then the Rotary is, I mean, talking about branding and imaging, the Rotary is being seen as reaching out and volunteering. They've heard a little bit about what Island Senior Resources does, which might help them down the road. And no harm, no foul. And if we do find needs that are out there, the ISR website has these portals where you can simply go on behalf of the person you're on the phone with and request help. And then just leave it with ISR, you just back away, and then our people come in and do whatever's necessary. I mean, I know that we've got 10,000 clients on these islands, but I just think that in a crisis, the dividing line between I'm fine and I'm financially well and I'm physically well, and by the way, stop calling me old, is shifting. And I think that there are some people who were not quite as old a month and a half ago as they are right now, or at least didn't feel it. Not to mention the fact that half the island was settled by the Dutch, who don't even tell you when something's wrong. I mean, until they're dead.
Okay.
I just thought I'd toss the idea out there of a campaign of calling where we test this with the Rotary, and if it works, you know, we would provide you with the two-pager, how to do it, what questions to ask, what to do when you find out information, and test it with the Rotary leaders. And then if it works, we tweak it and then move it to other organizations and get a deeper reach in to find out how people are. Possibly uncover some problems. And if nothing else, people get these phone calls and they feel cared for.
Gwen, you had your hand up?
Well, yeah, I had my hand up. I think, Charles, what your idea is incredible. And I think it is expanding off of something that one of the 4 things that this club is doing already, which is called Ring a Rotarian. So at least once a week, and I know, thanks, Kathy. I get my ringing from my mentor once a week, asking me how I'm doing. And that's something that we started when this COVID started, that if you are a mentor or a committee member, to reach out once a week to the people on your list and say, how you doing? Checking in. you know, all that kind of stuff. And that was called Ring a Rotarian. And so I think Charles is describing here is taking Ring a Rotarian and basically expanding it even more, which is a really interesting idea. I, for one, am willing to be willing. I don't know. We're all gardening. What do you guys think? I think it's an interesting idea for sure.
Can I say something here?
Sure, Bruce.
Probably jumping the gun.
It's all right.
It's a habit with this group.
I was gonna bring it up. Sorry. You know, I got that information, so sometimes I want to share it, you know?
It's our time, yeah. Yeah. Go.
This week, Rotary International will be announcing a new program through Global Impact Group, and they're looking for 1 million volunteers to become certified telehealth workers or community health workers. And they will get 18 hours of training minimum or more. They're looking for retired nurses, doctors, health professionals to reach out to people, to give them the resources and sometimes an analysis they need or whatever, but to come up with 1 million volunteers to help us through this crisis. I know it's not the same thing, but there are certain things that you can do, and there's ways to do it that aren't invasive or demeaning or anything like that. And I think this is, especially a telehealth worker, might be part of that training. Maybe I suggest that you go or listen to it. You'll see it. It's going to come out on the Rotary International webpage and get a lot of press. I know it's not the same as what we're discussing here, but it's very similar to it because there's people all over that need this help and like with their medications and training. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Mm-hmm. Good, good.
There's some cross-pollination.
Tracy.
Okay, so as you were just speaking, you know, I'm still able to do non-contact deliveries with the floral delivery system, and Molly has brought up a couple great ideas. So when we're talking about like your neighbors on Edgecliff and, you know, Soundview and Shore Avenue and all these, you know, maybe elderly people that wouldn't dare ask for anything, you know, you can stalk them on the Island County Assessor's page.
Yeah.
And get their addresses and sometimes their phone numbers. And I have several clients on Shore Avenue that I've actually called prior to all of this and said, hey, it's snowing. I know she's 90 years old. You know, we give her a hanging basket every year for Mother's Day. Do you need anything? So I think we can reach out a little bit, and I don't know that it has to be just Ring a Rotarian. But if you know your neighbors and you're walking by, and what can they do? I mean, if the poor lady can't read her gas stove or get her mail, you can do non-contact. You know, put a mask on, put some gloves on. Can we deliver them some food? You know, what can we do just as individuals? I'm not saying it has to be a big Rotary thing, but I don't know. That's what I'm doing with the flower shop.
Well, I can just, this is George. I'll just say that one of the things that we can do as a group of Rotarians on South Whidbey, so there are probably 50 or 60 Rotarians here. And if we take a look at our communities, so as our focus group for reaching out, I think we'll have a lot more effectiveness. So Ray, for example, is in Lakeview Terrace. So he would be a prime candidate for being the point person on that kind of thing. You know, Shore Avenue, I'm sure we have somebody down there, the Upper Colony and things like that, or Holmes Harbor. I think that if we can do that and we can start something person to person and share it on behalf of Rotary, I think that would be a really effective way of getting Rotary's name out and also connecting people with people in a safe and respectful way.
James?
So,
oh, you lowered your hand. Never mind. Yeah, Mr. Doug.
So a thought I'm having is maybe one of the questions when you're talking to somebody you know, because we all know people and we're all talking to people we know. You know, when we're reaching out to these people is, hey, maybe you know somebody, you know, that I don't, that I could call and connect with and maybe give them a little bit of help. Maybe we could connect that way.
Whoa, Charles.
So I'm just kind of like looking at it as I've been reaching out to family and friends and checking in on a weekly basis. You know, the Ring of Rotarian idea. I think that's great that our mentors are reaching out to us, but are we reaching out to our mentors? Like this is a two-way street. Like we can be doing all of this. This is not hard. I don't know if, I mean, you don't have to use Zoom to do this. You can pick up your phone and call somebody. So I think my thought is as we're looking at this, let's try to make it like simpler rather than more difficult. We don't have to like have a district that we're maintaining. Let's look at who do we know, and then who do they know? Hey, you know what? Whoever, I'm calling, you know, Steve in you know, Holmes Harbor. Hey Steve, who do you know that, you know, maybe needs some help, maybe needs some things, maybe I can call them, or, you know, you can connect me with them. Make that like the last question we ask. You know, if we're going to call these people, let's find out who else might be needing some help.
Rick, you unmuted? Unmute him, Rick.
Okay, there
I
he
was
is.
going to say that one of the things that I found just this week, I started checking in with a lot of past clients, and I'm also getting calls from clients right and left, just asking how I'm doing. So it's sort of like I think everybody's just said here, is that just reaching out to folks that we've had contact with that we wouldn't necessarily on a day-to-day, but I've had, I think, 3 calls today from clients asking how I was doing that don't live here on the island, just asking if I'm okay. And so much of it, I think, is like even on my Facebook chat, there are so many friends and people there that once you hit one, it's a little like paying forward. As soon as you hit one, they go and hit 2 more of theirs, you know? So I think it's sort of a self-fulfilling here. But.
Yeah, just quick math, if there's 50 or so and between our both South End clubs, make that number up in terms of volume, head count, and every day we were to make a phone call at the end of a week, that's a lot. At the end of 2 weeks, that's a lot. So if it's like 1 phone call. So why don't we, for the sake of time, and Charles, thank you for bringing that up, and Bruce as well on the global. And let's think on that. Continue. Let's everybody call more than your mother. Well, and you know, and call somebody, stretch out a little bit, and then if we can keep it loose enough, but then start formalizing it in the next week or something, I think that would be really helpful. So Charles, I'll look at your write-up more in depth. In fact, I'll send it out. And we'll take it from there, because I think it's really, that's what we're all about, is touching each other, sometimes in the heart. So we need to wrap it up. And so here's the hero book again. And I'm going to do a quick reading. This is from Emma Jameson. When we do face the difficult times, we need to remember that circumstances don't make the person, they reveal a person. So on that note, God bless everyone, be safe, and we'll get together. Thank you, and keep up your good work.
So I have a happy thought.
Quick happy thought.
I have a happy thought.
Go, George, quick happy thought.
John,